Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the very first RSBN Evening Edition. What? So excited to be doing this. What we're going to do is just give a rundown of some of the top stories that happened today, and to let you all know, if you have a story that you ever want to be like us to talk about, send it to our Twitter. And of course, I'm joined here today by our CEO, Joe Seals.
Hi guys, nice to see everybody. Excited to be with you again tonight, Tera. Let's get.
So we're just going to jump right in and get started. And at the end, we're going to read viewer comments and questions, and we can go back and talk about some of the stories. And I think it's going to be a great way for everyone to get to interact on the news that happened today. So, of course, for the first story, we had the roundtable that President Trump held on MS-13. Now, we did a broadcast on this already earlier today. If you did not watch it, I highly suggest go back and watch it. It was very emotional. I learned so much about these gangs that are coming into our country, and just go back and watch that. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that, because we did already do a broadcast on it. And the second story I want to talk about is NFL adopts policy to fine club members if personnel...
This is what I can't wait to talk about.
Sorry, I thought he was saying something to me. So anyway, Joe was saying this is what he can't wait to talk about. They're going to fine players and personnel if they don't stand for the national anthem. So this is a statement according to Fox. The policy read that 32 member clubs of the National Football League have reaffirmed their strong commitment to work alongside our players to strengthen our communities and advance social justice. Now, according to an article by New York Times, NFL players will be allowed to stay in the locker room during the national anthem, but their teams will be fined if they go onto the field and kneel. And this is according to new rules adopted by owners on Wednesday in an effort to diffuse an issue that obviously happened last season, and we all know how that went down. So previously, players have been required to be on the field for the anthem, but Commissioner Roger Goodell said that owners voted unanimously to rescind that rule and to fine teams if their players are on the field or sidelines but do not show respect for the flag and the anthem.
Well,
Joe, what are your thoughts on this?
Roger Goodell and the owners knew that they had to do something. They had to do something because last year the ratings completely tanked. It was a disaster. No matter your political affiliation, most Americans still believe in America and standing for the pledge, and it's just one of those things, I think, where they knew they had to do something. I would have personally made it a little bit fines to these people are, you have these big time athletes making millions and millions and millions of dollars. Some of this stuff won't even make a dent in their income, but I would say I was hoping more that they would Fox had a report out earlier that they were looking to do maybe a 15-yard penalty, something like that. I would say, why didn't they do both, a combination of both? Because you don't stand for the pledge and then you hurt your team and it makes you look really bad, makes you look a lot worse than if you kneel on the field and you just get fined for it. I think people will, maybe they'll still kneel just because they want to make a statement. But I mean, it's something. It's something. They did something. So I mean, I'll give them credit for that. But President Trump was all over this. Last year, and the majority of Americans agreed with him, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a compromise by letting members stay in the locker room if they don't want to come out onto the field. That's just my personal opinion. I think everyone should have to go on the field and stand for the national anthem. But of course, I guess this was a way for them to solve that issue. If they're going to kneel, at least they're not going to be disrespectful in front of
and Tera,
the entire world. But it was definitely a compromise.
Another thing we want to tell you guys that we forgot to tell you earlier today is that at the end of the show, we are going to be taking your comments on Twitter. So if you have any comments about any of these stories that we're talking about right now, or if you have any comments about stories that you want to talk about that we didn't get to today, you can send it to us on Twitter. Me at Joe Seals, that's Seales, and then Tera, tell them yours.
It's at Tera RSBN, that's Tera. And just send us your thoughts on this, because we are going to go back and we're going to read them and we can talk more in depth about them and whatever. It's going to be fun. This is going to be a laid back just an evening show where everyone can talk about it and give their opinions, and so I'm super excited about it. So if we're going to go into the next story. An Air Force training jet crashed in Mississippi this morning. And I do have a picture I want to show. Let me see if I can get it pulled up. Now this is one similar to that crash this morning. It was an Air Force T-38 Talon II. It crashed near the Columbus Air Force Base. The 2 pilots were ejected safely, and this is the type of plane that they use to teach Air Force pilots how to fly jets. Now I thought that was something interesting. They don't know what caused it to crash. They just know that it crashed, and I haven't read any more about it. Just a minor story, but I thought it was very important to talk about. And they also said there was huge fires that came from the crash, but they have put those out. And again, that was near the Columbus Air Force Base in Mississippi. Joe, do you have any thoughts on that one? I know it was a small story, but I wanted to throw that in there for today.
If you can bring yourself back to full screen there. What I was, and I've been to the Columbus, the Air Force Base there in Columbus, and the important thing the fortunate thing, obviously, is that the pilots were able to eject safely. We've seen a lot of these accidents lately, more than we should have in the military, with accidents like this happening. And it's very unfortunate and sad, but glad that the pilots made it out okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we have seen a lot of plane crashes and stuff to do with planes lately. I don't know what's the deal with that. I don't know, it's crazy. But anyways, this next story was actually sent to me by JC in the chat, so I was excited to get a story for someone that we get to share today, and it actually turned out to be a huge story. More than 80 mafia members were charged in a massive sweep. Now, this was an operation by the FBI called Dirty Thirds. That's what it was dubbed. So basically, it was a conspiracy to run drugs and carry out violent assaults ordered from inside the LA County jails. Now, the U.S. Attorney's Office said on this Wednesday that 35 people were in custody, 32 were arrested, but their other 16 are still out there on the streets, and they are considered armed and dangerous. Now, this gang was considered the gang of gangs. I know we've been talking about a lot of gangs today, but they called shots basically from behind bars that controlled the drug dealing in the jail, out of the jail, and so 80 mafia members were charged today for that.
Yeah, and good riddance. I mean, the Trump administration is cracking down on this kind of stuff, and more power to them, doing a wonderful job, and actually, sending a message to these people that this stuff isn't going to be tolerated. The Trump administration, or the law enforcement knows that the Trump administration has their back. I think it was one of the things that during the previous administration, it wasn't exactly clear. There was a lot of confusion, and communication had broken down amongst agencies, and it was sort of, officers had to think twice before they did certain things. But hats off to the FBI and the all those involved in getting these guys off the streets. Hopefully more of that to come, and I'm looking forward to seeing MS-13 go down.
Yeah, and I think we will very soon. The president has kept his promises so far, so I don't think he's going to let us down, and this is just another example. I know it's not MS-13 gang going down, but these are mafia members. At least some of them are getting taken off the street, so promises are still being kept. Now, for this next story, I'm sure many of you expected us to talk about it today. Kind of a big one, I guess. Jared Kushner has been granted his permanent security clearance. Now, this is ending a period of uncertainty that fueled questions about whether Mr. Kushner was in parole with the special counsel investigation. Now, Mr. Kushner's clearances were approved by career officials after the completion of the FBI background check, and sources say the president was not involved in the process. So, pretty much a veteran lawyer in Washington gave a statement today, and he said, "If I were Jared Kushner, I'd be sighing a breath of relief. The resolution of his clearances does not guarantee that Mr. Kushner faces no legal jeopardy." So this is a developing story. I just want to know, where else this is going to go.
Yeah, Tara, go ahead. I'm fixing an issue with the sound really quick if you can. Just give me 1 second. Go ahead and
okay.
You can talk about that or move on to the next one. Or you can check and see if we've got any feedback.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull up my Twitter and see if we got any feedback. We do have a couple more stories to talk about, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up my Twitter just so we can get that going. And again, follow me, send me messages. It's Tera RSBN, Tera RSBN, and Joe's is Joe Seals with an ES. Is that right, Joe? Okay, make sure I got that right. And two, I'm going to pull up, if I can, the YouTube chat, because I know a lot of you talk in there and make your comments about this. Just bear with us. We got a couple more stories coming. If I can't get this pulled up, I'll go ahead and go on to the next story. And keep in mind, for those of you that kind of joined us late, we're going to take a few minutes at the end to get viewer questions and comments and give us your all's opinion of the news that happened today. I think this is going to be great.
You know, one thing that I wanted to say is that we realize this is a little rough around the edges, this broadcast. I mean, we sort of put it together pretty quick, but we're trying to, experiment with some different stuff. And this is sort of like a pilot version, I guess, of what we hope it to be in the future. So we like feedback here. This is something we've been kind of working on and toying around with an idea of coming on and doing this because, all we have been doing as of late are just, we cover President Trump stuff. We come on for breaking news, but we want to bring our original content back. And now that we have the ability to do so with our current setup and everything, we want to continue to, bring you things like this. So yeah, it's awesome. And actually, I also would like to read a message that I just got on Twitter. I'll go ahead and do that really quick, Tara, while you're queuing up the next story. By the way, Jared Kushner, I just want to say something about that. All I can tell you is he didn't do nothing. All right, he's a good guy. I know. I don't know him personally, never met him before, but I know a lot of the people that work for him. And he's a good guy, and I don't think that I don't have any personal knowledge of this or whatever, but that's just my personal opinion of him. So JC from the chat room also sends me a message on Twitter who says that he wants to give me and the RSBN crew a special shout out. Welcome to the RSBN family, obviously Tara, and then also Alyssa. We have Alyssa Ash who just started working with us, and she will be live from the rally in Nashville. So wait to see your awesome work. RSBN Mod Squad is here for you. So we thank the moderators for everything that they're doing for us. It means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to answer this question that, let's see, it was Jabbery 308 asked, so it took 1.5 years to process Jared Kushner's clearance. And I was reading a statement earlier from the White House that it's not, that's very typical for it to take that long, so I did want to clear that up.
All right, we're going to go to my other favorite story now.
Okay. I'm excited about this one, too.
I hope you have a picture queued up for this one, Tara.
Let's see. Lenny, I don't...
Okay.
Oh, I do. Let me get it. Okay. I don't want to mispronounce his last name, so correct me if I am wrong, Joe. But Lenny
Dykstra.
Dykstra? Okay, he was arrested for threatening an Uber driver today in possession of drugs. So former New York Mets, he's a former New York Mets player, and I think he played for another team too. I don't know much about his background, but the driver whose identity has not been released ran out of the car and told officers that he picked up Dykstra, and also said that during the ride, the former Met tried to change the destination of the trip. The driver alleged that when he refused to comply, Dykstra put a weapon to his head and threatened to kill him. When police searched the vehicle, though, they did not find any weapons, but they did find cocaine, ecstasy, and marijuana along with his belongings. He was charged with making terroristic threats in the 3rd degree and various drug offenses. Now, this is his side of the story. He told the Daily News of New York that he was the victim after the driver went nuclear, in quotes, nuclear. This is a statement from him. He said, "He effing kidnapped me and almost killed me going 100 miles per hour. He locked me in his effing car and he wouldn't let me out." Now, that was his side of the story. And what I thought was so funny about this, before the story was released today, Lenny Dykstra was actually tweeting me on Twitter, like trying to have a conversation with me. And then the story was released, and I was like, I mean, they're just crazy to me. But he was obviously released. He was in custody it was like 3:08 this morning, but he has been released from that. Joe, opinions?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
Look, I don't have any problem with Lenny Dykstra. I just remember watching him when I was younger. It kind of makes me feel old, actually. When I was growing up and was a big Atlanta Braves fan back in the day, and I remember watching Lenny Dykstra play for, I think he played for the Phillies and for the Mets. And yeah, so it kind of makes me feel old seeing him in that picture like that, because I remember what he looked like back then. I'm sure those of you watching that are baseball fans know who Lenny Dykstra was. He was a colorful personality, obviously, and I believe he's actually acquainted with someone who used to work here. Adam Taxon, I think, who was actually our first cameraman, I think he's acquainted with Lenny in some way. I had to clarify that with him, but yeah. So, makes me feel kind of old, but best wishes to you, Lenny.
I just thought that was crazy because he was tweeting me today, we're having a conversation, and then this story comes out, and I was just like, I had to double check. I was like, is that really him? It was insane. Anyways, we'll move on to the next story. And I'm sure many of you saw this one coming today as well. Federal judge in Manhattan ruled that President Trump and his aides cannot block critics on Twitter. So I have an article here that we're going to read through just quickly. Now this says that the U.S. District Court's judge, Naomi Reese Buchwald, cited the First Amendment principles in holding that the social media platform offered a forum in which people could not only consume information and opinion from public figures, but offer feedback to elected officials, just as they have the right to do in newsprint or in public or in person in public spaces. And then it goes on to say at the bottom that no one's above the law, not even President Trump. Joe, do you have any thoughts on this?
Wow, that's all I can say about this one. Pretty unbelievable there. To say that. So let me get this straight, Tara, because you're the news girl. I'm running around here all day trying to produce and fix things. So the federal judge rules that Trump and they cannot block people on Twitter. Like they can't block them on their personal accounts. Is that correct?
Right. So from what I read today, and this was an article on NPR that, and several other news organizations covered it today, but Trump or his aides can't block people on Twitter because her whole point was it's the First Amendment rights that people should be able to, since Twitter is a form of news now, I guess is what she's trying to say, that people should be able to give their opinions without being blocked. So I think she's trying to relate it to people. Like if you were in person and you saw President Trump, you should be able to speak to him because, free speech, and she's relating it to that if he blocks these people, then he's not going to be able to see their free speech comments.
Trump can't block people on Twitter, and people like Dan Scavino can't block people on Twitter, but yet, like, I can, right? And why is that? Is it because he's a government official? Is that what the deal is, or what? I mean...
She just said public figures.
So any public figure?
It says opinion from public figures, or feedback. They need to be offered feedback to elected officials, just like they would in any other situation.
Okay.
And it also goes on to name that the case was technically filed against Trump, his former communications director, Hope Hicks, obviously Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, social media director, and it went on to name some other people and all his aides.
So you say public figures. I would be on the low end of that totem pole, but I got a verified Twitter account, which according to them makes me somebody of public interest. I don't know why, but that is true. So I can't block people either, I guess. And RSBN can't block people. And what are they going to do about it if we do block people? Because we have blocked people. I don't know.
I know. And what I'm interested to see, I haven't, President Trump loves his Twitter. I haven't seen any tweets from him about it yet.
So does Trump now have to go and unblock everybody that he blocked? I don't
know. I don't know. It says, let's see, what did I read at the end? It says that they will be giving a chance to appeal this decision that she made. And it also says that she did not order any compensation for damages, but instead offered a declaring judgment, one that allowed declaring statements from the judge. And she said, quote, "No government official, including the president, is above the law, and all government officials are presumed to follow the laws as it has been declared." Okay. And it also said, the judge wrote, she expects Scavino to unblock critics and to not block others in the future.
Man, oh man. Seems like a...
Yep. Obviously, we'll be hearing more about this.
Seems like a big waste of time to me to even... whatever. Wow. Okay.
I know.
So we heard all that
news.
Terrible news.
And for the last...
this crazy story about the judge who doesn't allow people to block people on Twitter. So now how about we have some good news? How's that?
I know. I was excited to end on the good news, and we're going to take question and comments after. But a Washington waitress received a tip of a lifetime. She was left a $3,000 tip on a $44 bill. And her name was Michelle Bozeman, and she was working at Ramblin' Jack's Ribeye when she discovered the tip. And she thought it was a mistake, obviously. I mean, who leaves a $3,000 tip? She flipped the receipt over on the back, and it said, "Thanks for smiling. You work hard, and the country is in a bad place." And it's already been confirmed the tips went through the credit card company. Like, that $3,000 is hers. I mean, insane.
Random acts of kindness like that are awesome. I mean, I've done it before. I think I've left a couple $100 tips and a couple $50 tips when I got really good service. But obviously, whoever did that has a lot more money than I do. But that kind of stuff really makes people's day, makes their week, makes their life, and our world would be in a lot better place if more people did that. And I know not everybody has $3,000 to give somebody, but even if you just, heck, you could just write them a note, and it would mean a lot to them. So that's an awesome story, and I bet that $3,000 will change her life and her whole perspective on everything. And whoever did that, I'm sure they had a blessing. They got a blessing from giving that as well. So, and
Yeah, and I was reading more on the story, and she said that she has worked as a waitress all her life, raised her kids on the money that she made from being a waitress, and now she says she's going to take her kids and her 7 grandkids on a vacation with the $3,000.
That's amazing. Yeah, we really, the world would be a much better place, as I said before. Just think about that for a minute. We don't know what this lady was going through. Most people in the country right now are going, the economy's better, don't get me wrong, but I know I'm struggling right now. A lot of people struggle. That's just life, and something like that can completely, turn things around for you and put you in a better place. And so, great story. Very.
Yeah, I think I was reading it. It was like a over 6,000% tip, which is insane.
Wow.
That is absolutely crazy. And I love random acts of kindness like that. And I thought this was a great story to end on. Happy note, since today's been so dark and gloomy with all the gang talk.
Exactly. And just to let everybody know again, as we said when I started the beginning of the broadcast, I understand that there's a few issues with this broadcast. The audio isn't that great. Apparently we're hearing some background noise, which is probably my children downstairs pushing each other around in the garage and knocking each other into walls and things like that. My wife made an effort to take them down to the garage and hoped that it would be quiet down there, but I think that's what you're hearing, because they're right down below me right now. But we apologize for that. I'm getting a noise canceling microphone like Tera has, and so the sound will be a lot better. The studio behind me will be a lot better. We're going to improve on this. We'll be able to, we'll add in video, and we'll add in, certain things. This is just sort of a test run for us to see where we're at and see if you have any feedback for us. And it was actually Tera's idea, so it's a great idea, Tera. Really great.
Thank you. I just thought it'd be fun. I know we don't get to cover every news story that happens during the day.
We won't do this every day, obviously.
And
if there's a breaking news thing that happens, and we run most of the day on it. If Tera's on the air for 3 or 4 hours, it probably won't be something that we can do every single day, but we hope to do it on most days, especially when there's not a lot of other news happening.
Right, exactly. And so I guess now we should read comments or feedback or any questions you have about the stories. I'm going to pull
Tara,
that up.
I got nothing. Nobody likes me. I'm like a little lonely boy here. No one likes me on Twitter. In fact, I think Tara's approaching more followers than I am. So do me a favor, everybody on this broadcast that are watching, please follow me on Twitter. I feel so small right now. Sad.
Joe, neither of us have that many
It's because
followers.
I never
What's
tweet.
Wrong? I don't either. I've tried to get into Twitter more, and I've tried to tweet consistently.
I mean,
it's hard.
I think I've been on Twitter for 6 or 7 years. I think, and I only have 2,600 some followers.
Okay, that's a little sad, Joe. Okay, we have a comment from JC. He asked, he said, isn't Twitter a private account and not a government account? Joe, what are your thoughts on that?
Now, repeat the question again. Isn't Twitter what?
Oh, sorry. It said, isn't Twitter a private account and not a government account?
You mean Trump's account? Is that what we meant? Trump's account, a private account?
I'm guessing you just said, isn't Twitter a private account?
So I agree. So President Trump's, the real Donald Trump Twitter account, that's been his forever. He had that way before he was president. So that's technically his private Facebook account. I mean, he has another account at POTUS, which every president gets, and the tweets are archived. That is the actual government account. So, if it's his private account, I mean, I don't see how they can say that, but.
I know, I'm interested to see because she didn't specify. I know a lot of the White House officials and the aides, and they have their personal account, and then they have, of course, the one that they use for work and where the tweets are archived. And I wonder if that's something like, if she's going to apply it to both of their accounts or just like
that's
their work account.
That's a good question. I really don't know, but like the whole thing seems really stupid to me. We have a lot of other problems in our country to be worried about other than that. I mean, you know what I mean? Who is worried about somebody blocks them on Twitter? I mean, so what? Like, why does that make you want to take them to court? I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand. It's like a waste of it's just like a waste of the court system. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. Let me see if I got any other comments. Oh, and JC did clarify. He was talking about Trump's account, not Twitter in general. Trump's private account. So, in my opinion, I think it is his. I don't know. Does Trump have one for just him and then one for his, President of the United States account? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, at POTUS, and just like Mike Pence has his own personal, Twitter account, and then he has at VP. So, whatever. So, really quick, I also want to break in here. There's my Twitter account. There's me and my wife, my lovely wife on Twitter. And look at that, only 2,896 followers. That's just poor. That's just awful, and we got to do something about that because, I mean, that's unacceptable. But I do want to say, as you see here, we tweeted out today, this is Alyssa Ash here, who we just hired today. She's going to be a really huge asset for us here. She will be joining us in Nashville, the rally on the 29th of May, where President Trump will speak there, downtown Nashville. So look out for her. And, man, we got 5 people going to Nashville, Tara. That should be fun, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. Like I said yesterday, the more the merrier.
Man, absolutely.
I'm going through and scrolling up in the YouTube chat to see what else they were saying. I know everyone talks in the YouTube chat and no one wants to send comments to Twitter. I don't know why.
I guess, yeah, wow. Okay. We'll do.
So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just scrolling through.
Yeah, you guys have got to get them in now. I think we have a few more minutes left here. Get your comments in. You can also send us an email, feedback at rsbn.tv. Yeah, or you can also go to, and you know what, Tera, you remember what I told you to do when you first started, when I said, make sure that people who you don't follow can send you messages. And guess what my account is set for? To not allow people to send me messages.
Private?
Because I didn't anticipate being
messages
on the air like this, so I guess I need to change that then, so everybody can contact me. Maybe that's why I have no feedback. Wow.
Okay, so someone in the chat, the British Patriot, says the President of the United States account is official, but his real Donald Trump one is private.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I guess that's a good point. I wonder if she'll make him not block, or make him unblock everyone on all his accounts.
So, we're gonna, again, this is a sort of a dry run for us. We're eventually want to have guests on the show. Look, I'm going to show you our split screen, or our three-way split screen, where we can have a guest on the show with us. I mean, I've been really working hard on these graphics. I mean, this is pretty cool stuff. I'll show you the split screen, but there's not going to be anything in the split over here except for oops, boom. So here you go. This is what it would look like. So we need to get a guest on the show, Tera. Who should our first guest on this show be?
Ooh, good question, Joe.
Let's get Lenny Dykstra on. How's that? Let's get Lenny Dykstra to come on. Lenny, if you're watching, come on the show, man.
Let's talk to him about his little... He was all over Twitter today. I don't know. Some tweets, I don't know. He was all over Twitter after, I guess, he was released from custody.
Well, we're going to bring all kinds of new stuff onto the program. We're learning. I mean, I never anticipated doing this, but I kind of like it a little bit. So I might continue to do it for a little bit longer. We'll see. But I like for Tera to do most of the work, so I'll just sit back and sort of chill, and I'll only talk when I am asked a question, and I won't interrupt, because Tera's the real talent here. I'm just, just hanging out. And so we will be, I know Tera wants to talk about the rally a little bit in Nashville, I think, as well.
Yes, absolutely. So for those of you who haven't heard yet, we're going to be in Nashville this coming Tuesday for another President Trump rally. And I absolutely love rallies. They're full of energy, and there's nothing like seeing the president in person and his speech. And also, it's my first rally that I've been to where he actually kind of comes to the South. So I think it's going to be completely different. It's going to be a whole new game. It's going to be fun. And plus, we're going to have Alyssa and Liz with us, who I've never met neither of them. Talked to them, and I think they're great. And I think we're going to kill it. Obviously, Tom's going to be there too, and then our cameraman, Aaron. So I'm hoping for the best rally yet. And I know they're going to have internet at this venue because they've been to this venue before, as Joe has told me. And so I think everything's going to go smoothly and perfect, and it's going to be great.
Fingers crossed, because we've had a couple of the last rallies we did have been pretty rough, but this one's going to be better. And the South is Trump country, and so there's going to be a lot of enthusiasm at this one. I used to live in Nashville. I know it was pretty red, at least around the areas where I lived back then, but I lived in the suburbs in Franklin, but I don't know, maybe people, maybe it's changed since I've been there, but I think there's going to be definitely a lot of supporters out there. And that place was packed last time. I remember clearly this same venue, the Municipal Auditorium there, was packed when we were there about a year ago. And we had a lot of fun. And so you're gonna really like it, Tera. I think this is the first one you've been in where it's actually like a huge auditorium type place. I think the first one you went to was in a cornfield, and then the second one was there at the middle school gym. So.
No, I'm excited too to see, because my first one I went to was in Michigan, and they only let like 5,000 people in.
Yeah.
Then the one in Indiana a few weeks ago, they let 7,000 people in. So I wonder how big this one's going to be. I think it's going to be even bigger, obviously, since it's in an auditorium.
And so, look, it's going to be fun. One of the good things is it's not so far away from home for us. It's just right across the border here in Tennessee. But it's I think it's going to be fun because we've never had 5 people go to a rally before. I think the most we ever had was 4. But it's going to be interesting to see, how we get, how you guys work together when you're out there and you have 4 of you. Wow, that's what are you gonna? How are you guys gonna do that? You're just gonna
Well, I think it's going to be great because usually, we're outside before the rally, we're interviewing people, and then Aaron and another reporter goes inside to help set up the camera, prepare for the rally. So then there was only 2 of us out there. So one of us is holding the camera, and then one person's just trying to talk, and we're swapping back and forth. And so now I think we're always going to at least have 2 people in front of the camera, and so I think it's going to be great. We're going to be able to get interviews easier, and we're going to be swapping back and forth. And
the
I
good
think it's
thing
going to go
about this time
smooth.
is that our pre-show will be longer this time and a lot more. The quality is going to be outstanding because we're using a real camera now, not just a cell phone, and we're using the live view outside, and that is going to be great because what you'd see in the past is we'd show up at these events and there'd be we would just use our cell phone, and for a little while it was okay, and then once people started piling in and getting on their phones, then you'd see the quality deteriorate. No more of that crap. That's going to be gone with this new way we're doing things now. So me and Aaron have already been on the phone. We were on the phone and we were talking last night about how we were going to do it. We've got it all planned out. It's all going to be great. All going to be great.
Yeah, and Aaron's great. He's a really great camera guy. So I know, I'm going to go ahead and speak it. This rally is going to go perfect. We're not going to have any issues putting it out there. It's going to be fantastic.
Anybody that knows RSBN knows there's always an issue. But they love us, so they keep coming back, and they don't mind it because we do good more than we mess up. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And for people asking, someone asked in the chat if Tom was going to be there. Tom is going to be there. I know everyone in the chat loves Tom. He's great, and he will be there with us. So it will be me, Tom, Alyssa, Liz, and then Aaron's going to be behind the camera. And we're going to do the same, pre-show the night before and the show after the night of the rally. Everything's going to be the same. We're just going to have a camera outside for interviews and more people.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun as I learn all this technical stuff, and I've upgraded the live view again. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have internet. I'm almost 99 on that, but in case we don't, we still have live view we can use inside. But I've upgraded it again from what I did last time. We spent $2,000 on what's called, I don't want to bore you with the technical details, but it's called an HEVC card for the LU600, the live view, and basically it gets you double the bandwidth than we were getting. So we had all the bells and whistles. You can't get any better than this. So I've done all I can do, and so it's in God's hands now. So we'll see. But I have a feeling Tara's right. This is going to be a perfect one. We're due one.
All the bells and whistles. So it's going to be great. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too. And don't forget, tune in 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Tuesday, May 29th at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium. I believe that's what it's called. We'll have coverage live all day beginning at, I would think, about 3 o'clock Eastern Time, and we'll go all the way through the night. So if you want to support us, we haven't asked for donations once during this entire broadcast. I know there hasn't been any more than 199 people watching, and that might be because of the fact that, Tara? YouTube didn't do what? I think we already had our notifications for the day earlier. They determined that the one that we did was enough, so we get no more. So sad. And by the way, just for the record, I showed Tara this last night. Just for the record, the video that we did last night of Trump speaking at the pro-life event in Washington, D.C. is apparently not suitable for advertisers. And that's pretty sad, you know? It's pretty sad that that remarks by a president at an event about life is offensive, and that that YouTube finds it not suitable. Meanwhile, they have music videos with half-naked people jumping around and people shooting people with guns and threatening to assassinate presidents and stuff, who apparently they're okay, but we're not. Sad.
Yeah. Does YouTube ever send you an explanation of why they said it wasn't acceptable for advertisers, or do they just mark that on there and then you don't ever get to ask questions why?
Look, they'll probably start black screening us again as soon as I say this, but they have awful customer service. There is no customer service. You can't call YouTube. You can't get them on the phone. You can't. You know, they don't even have a phone number that I'm aware of. And then you can reach out through this forum online if you have over 100,000 subscribers, and you get access to the real good customer support, supposedly. But these are people, I believe, who are overseas somewhere, and they don't really know detailed issues like this. They just copy and paste answers, things like that, most of the time anyway. That's from my experience. So when we talk to them about this, they always give us the same response, which is basically, I mean, like, our algorithms, please appeal this. Would they give us the ability to appeal it? And here's the thing, they may approve that appeal. This is what they always tell me in customer service. They say, you can appeal this. So I appeal it, but then it takes them 3 days to actually get to it. And by the time they make their decision, yes, we'll allow this to be monetized, no one's watching the video anymore because it's been 3 days, right? So you lose out all that ad revenue. And so it's so frustrating. I actually do have a contact that works at Google or YouTube, and he's tried to be a little bit more helpful, but basically he's told me there's nothing we can do, and they're working on it. So, but that's what we've heard since the beginning.
And that's crazy, but we're just gonna keep on keeping on, and maybe one day YouTube will get it straightened out, and I don't know, treat everyone right. I don't know, it makes me really frustrated, but it is what it is. And we're gonna keep on. Joe, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, Tara, I thought if I recall, I thought you were going to tell the folks how they can donate.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I'm best at. I completely forgot. So, yes, if you want to donate, if you're in the YouTube chat, you can go down to the bottom and click the $sign, or you can go to rsbnetwork.com/donate, or you can become a monthly donator at patreon.com/RSBN.
That is correct, and we do appreciate all of you. We know a lot of you watching right now have given us so much already. You give us your time and money, and been so loyal to us, and we really thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Really means the world to us. You keep us going, you keep us alive, and the reason we do it, and the reason we continue doing it, and the reason why, all the times when I've thought about folding up and saying this thing's run its course, decided not to, and it's because of you. And I'm glad I didn't decide that, because there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon now with all the new people we have, and exciting talent, and all the stuff that's coming up. And so thanks to everybody again, and thank you to Tara. This is fun, and like I said, we're going to try to do this. We're going to try to do this as much as possible, hopefully every night, and I'll try to join as much as I possibly can. And we're also going to think about doing a morning thing as well, right, Tara?
Yeah, no, it kind of be the same type rundown, but as all of you know, there's tons of stuff that happens through the night and stuff that we always miss, and then obviously we will foreshadow events that are going to happen later in the day. If we know about a Trump speech or we know anything that's going to happen, we'll talk about that in our morning show as well. So lots of exciting things coming up, and I just want to take a moment and thank you everyone who has donated so far, and thank you so much to the moderators for doing what you do. Y'all are absolutely amazing. I know we don't thank you enough for that. And that's all
about
I
it,
have.
folks.
Joe, anything
we hope
else?
you have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. We know it was a little rough this time, but we'll get better. We're sort of just finding our way here and trying to figure stuff out. But every episode is going to get a lot better, and so we'll be competing with Tucker Carlson before long. So, all right, y'all. Have a good night. We'll see you later.